Lumina 2, is it good enough to implement it on Cogniwerk? I'm not John Travolta, but I'm Benjamin from Cogniwerk AI. And how does the new model from VLM Alpha, the brand new Lumina 2, compare to SD 1.5, to Stable Diffusion SDXL, and also to Flux? I put them to the test. Let's find out. Hey everybody and welcome back. Today we are making a deep dive into the new model Lumina 2 from Alpha VLM latest release. I'll test it against Stable Diffusion 1.5, against SDXL and against Flux, and I'm using a variety of prompts so to see how each model interprets them differently, and we'll also explore how image to image, so where you're using an image as a guiding condition, works with Lumina 2, and also I'm comparing the different prompt adherence between these models, and I will point out which features Lumina 2 lacks for now. As you can see here, I put in a very simple interface in Comfy UI. The description is in the links below. First of all, I start with a empty prompt, so to see what the model actually can do and also what it was trained on. You can sometimes see if there is a kind of overfitting, as you can see in SD 1.5. I'm using the realistic vision checkpoint here, and you can see I'm letting it run through again, so that Lumina 2 has a variety of inputs. Most to say are from photos, obviously, but there's also a little bit of garbage or of mixing up, so as it is with SDXL. 1.5 with no prompt at all, you can see there's like a basic photograph, and Flux, you can see that it has some kind of computer generated aesthetics or also images maybe from computer games or even movies. So I'm testing my round with a very simple prompt I always use for testing out new models. It is the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy robot, and let's see. So it's a very simple prompt, it's really easy, but on the other hand, what do we have here? So SD 1.5, the prompt is a little bit complicated, and so 1.5 gets really easy lost in the details. So we have something foxish, but something robotish, and it also mixes it up again a little bit. SDXL does a pretty good job. You can see here are a little bit of double legs or triple legs, while Flux does a pretty good job. You can see an illustration of a fox jumping over a lazy or cute little robot, while Lumina does also, similar to SD 1.5, a mixing up of the robot elements and the fox. So let's look out for a more complicated prompt. By the way, I'm also having a negative prompt. I'm not using a negative prompt right now. Let's see how this works out in a bit. And there you have it. While 1.5 and SDXL still mix the prompt a little bit up, so we have a house which is pink, but it is not made out of cotton. While Flux and also Lumina did an excellent job of a house in the woods. It has like a magical feeling towards it. Maybe Lumina has an even more magical feeling with all this mist and this castle-like structure, and it's obviously made out of cotton, while Flux has a little bit of furry elements here in there. And SDXL, this could be cotton as well, but yeah, Lumina, so for now has a pretty good, seems to have a pretty good prompt understanding. Let's look for another one, which is a little bit more complicated as it has the shape of a Wi-Fi symbol. So let's look how this does. An aerial shot of a field of colorful flowers in the shape of a Wi-Fi symbol, graphic, strong colors, sun rays, photorealistic, heavy shadows, and desaturated. Now let's take a look. And there you have it. SD 1.5 completely misses the mark. It's not a Wi-Fi symbol. SDXL tries, it has a basic form, it looks more like a heart, while Flux and Lumina both really have the resemblance of a Wi-Fi symbol. Lumina maybe has one stripe here more, but Flux really nailed it there. Then we have, of course, the aerial shot of the field of colorful flowers. It is not really an aerial shot, so maybe sometimes if you try multiple images in a row, it gets sometimes a little bit better the prompt understanding, as each seed, so each composition, new composition of an image, has a slightly different understanding of the prompt. So let's take a look. Yeah, and there we have also now the aerial shot. Lumina did also a pretty good job, while Flux really have this aerial shot view, like this distortion. All the others like SD 1.5 and SDXL not really showcase the Wi-Fi symbol. Flux and Lumina 2 really show off here. Okay, now let's even get a little bit more complicated with showing a complicated prompt where we try to match the position of the prompt element in the image. So we have 3 transparent glass bottles on a wooden table. The one on the left has red liquid in the number and the number 1. The one in the middle has blue liquid and the number 2. The one on the right has green liquid and the number 3. Let's see how this points out. While this is generating a little bit about the prompting I'm doing here, 1.5 and also SDXL have a slightly different prompting style like Flux and Lumina 2. SDXL and 1.5, they have something like keyword prompting, where you prompt with different keywords, while Flux and Lumina, they really understands the natural language description of an image. So now that it is finished generated, let's look at these images, and we have the 1.5 completely misses the prompt. So we have transparent bottles, one is green and one is blue. There are 3 bottles, that is right, but they have no liquids in there, and neither do they have some numbers. SDXL has the numbers and also all the colors in the prompt, but it is not really an understanding of the prompt whatsoever. While Flux and also Lumina 2 do a really good job here, especially with the liquids and also the positioning. I have also implemented a small detail view here, and you can see that the detail shot of Flux and SDXL is really good. Lumina has a little bit of artifacts, but it is also still a pretty good model. Now let's go for the last prompt before we go to the image to image. So we have here a long prompt. It's a prompt in a style which is more like a keyword style. We have the first subject over here, the cinematic scene of a giant panda in a dynamic rock performance. We're wearing a leather jacket and sunglasses, shredding a flaming electric guitar on a neon lit stage, and glowing purple and blue spotlights, roaring crowd in the background, smoke machines, dynamic motion blur, hyper detailed fur texture, cyberpunk aesthetics, 8K resolution, Unreal Engine 5 rendering, battle posture, wild, passionate, crazy, meloding scenes, psychedelic atmosphere. So a pretty wild prompt, pretty long prompt. Let's see how this compares to the other models. And there you have it. So we have the 1.5. It's not even a panda. You can see the overfitting of girls in the training data set. So we don't have the panda, but we have a human playing the guitar. SDXL also nailed it. So we have a pretty good panda playing the guitar. We have no crowd, or not really that I see it in the background. We have the cyberpunk aesthetics for sure. Flux has it all. It has the neon lights, it has the crowd in the background, and it has also the flaming guitar. While Lumina has the flaming guitar, it has also, as far as I can see it, the crowd in the background. It is a little bit, from the image quality, not that good. It has a little bit of a slightly CGI look, and maybe have another test and look if we get the same result, and then we can also jump into negative prompting and see if we get something out of there. Another test, another image, and here we get a slightly brighter image. The CGI look still is there, and we have also the roaring crowd in the background, the flaming guitar, and also the lights, the battle posture. It's really a maddening scene, so to say. So it does relatively good compared to the other models, and while my favorite posture would be the SDXL, the prompt understanding from Lumina 2 is really good. The quality of Flux is, in my opinion, the best for now, but let's see if we can maybe use a nice negative prompt. So we have like a standard negative prompt over here. It has all the things you don't want to see in the prompt, something like low res or cropped or worse quality. Let's see if we can get an even better quality out of Lumina. And also this prompt will also affect the other models except Flux, because Flux has no negative prompt. But let's see how this Lumina compares to the other models in this regard. Okay, so in this regard, the model did not really improve that much in quality. We have a quality jump in the SDXL model, but not in the Lumina 2 model. So the prompt understanding is good, but the negative prompt did not affect it that much, while the negative prompt did an exceptionally good job for the SD 1.5 and SDXL in terms of quality, not so much in prompt understanding. Okay, we keep it like this, and I will now test various ratios if it also does a good job in distortion and different image ratios. So let's take a look. Really nice. So we have a really interesting image over here. So it is really dynamic pose in Lumina 2. It really nails this pose. While in SD 1.5 there is no panda, there is no even a human left. There's just a little bit of smoke and a guitar, and the SDXL has it all except the crowd, and Flux does also in this regard a pretty good job. Let's see for another ratio. Let's go maybe for a horizontal image. So, and also in the horizontal image we got a good image of Lumina 2. Decent prompt understanding. There's still the crowd and the lights and also the flaming guitar. The image quality is not as good with Flux, but the prompt understanding is. And so far SDXL and also Flux do a pretty good job in terms of quality. And 1.5 is good in terms of quality, but it lacks the details of the prompt. It is no panda. Now let's go for something completely different, and we are testing now the image to image feature. I have uploaded this image here. It is now waiting for a while, and also I have here a button which lets me use the image to image feature. And if I now using a prompt, I have a prompt of a professional profile photo of a woman in a business suit. The woman looks happy and content, award-winning photography, stock photo, photorealistic, studio light, desaturated. A rather short prompt. I'm keeping the negative prompt, and I'm also turning the image dimensions back to 1024 to 1024. Right now I have the denoising strength on 1. This means that the image will be more or less a completely new image, and the image here will have a less big impact on the composition. So let's see all these images featuring a woman in a business suit, and you can see that SDXL and also Lumina 2 highlighting the composition, the original composition a little bit more, while SD 1.5 and Flux really are doing something different here. So I'm turning the denoising strength a little bit down. Let's take it to 90%. And let's see what we get over here. So I'm now turning it down, and you can already see the effect of the image, and we get also different qualities over here. So the quality of Flux is at first look really good, but if you look at the detail, it is a little bit blurry, while Lumina has an exceptional good quality. It is a little bit maybe too plastic. So are the others as well, a little bit more highlights, but it does an excellent job. It is a sharp image, a good quality, also better than SDXL, and of course 1.5, which is 512 by 512 base model. So the image quality is of course not completely comparable to SDXL, Flux or Lumina 2, which are native models of 1024 by 1024. So let's keep getting even lower. So getting lower means that now the image adheres more to the generated image adheres more to the guiding condition of the image to image, and you can see Flux is actually going more into the direction of the original image, while the other models are still a little bit more creative in their way of interpreting the original image. Let's test another image here. Let's go for this one, another pose and another image. Now a professional photo woman in a business suit. Well, we can actually keep it as it is and look at the other result over here. Okay, there we go. So at a value of 80%, we get a pretty good understanding. So while SD 1.5 has a basic understanding of the image and of the guiding condition, it is really generating an image towards the data set, which features obviously a lot of white Caucasian women, while SDXL, Flux and also Lumina adheres more to the original image prompt. But we can also see that while SDXL and Lumina 2 do a pretty good job at depicting the woman in a suit, in a business suit, Flux interprets this original image more as a medical suit. Now let's go for something. This is the standard Configure Eye example picture, and let's see what we get out of these basic colors if we have a denoising strength of 80%. So now it's finished generated, and we can already see that SD 1.5 and SDXL, they have more a photo look and also adhere more to the prompt in terms of a business suit, while Flux interprets this image rather creative and Lumina 2 still has the business suit. But overall, the image quality is not really comparable to all these different styles. So let's maybe go a little bit more into the creative arena again by setting it to 95%. So now it is generated, and you can see that the green color over here gets reinterpreted as the suit of this woman, and also the blue more as the background. Flux interprets this kind of image then more like an illustration, while the SD 1.5 is really creative in this regard and just slices the image up in basic areas which resemble the image input, but not necessarily the color. To sum it up, SD 1.5 tends to focus more on the style but lacks in detail in terms of the prompt. SDXL produces more or less high resolution results, but sometimes struggles with the coherency, while Flux and Lumina 2 really did an amazing job over here. Flux is still the winner for me, but I would put Lumina 2 right in the middle between SDXL and Flux. It is maybe the SD3 we all waited for. Let's talk about the features. With SD 1.5 and SDXL and even Flux, we got all these stuff like the control net, also the fine-tuning and IP adapter, which is a technology which lets you generate images in a style of a certain image. Lumina 2 lacks all of this except the fine-tunable, so Alpha VLMM, they already have a training script for Lumina 2, and we are yet waiting for fine-tuned LoRa's and also checkpoints for Lumina 2, which might improve the quality even more. And if we maybe get even something like ControlNet for Lumina 2, this would be a great milestone. Because while I was running these tests, I also did some of this test for the execution time, and you can see that Lumina 2 and also SDXL, they use almost the same VRAM, and also which is half of the VRAM of Flux. This is really great for improving the performance, and also Lumina is also faster than Flux in terms of generation. This means for you as end consumers, it could be like really beneficial to use Lumina 2 because it is fast and it has also a really good prompt understanding. It lacks a little bit in the quality of the image, but you can get around with this with certain other techniques I will probably discuss in another video. Now the big question, should we implement this model on Cogniwerk AI? So you can try it on yourself on Hugging Face. I have a link in the description below. And you can also try the other models I showed you today on Cogniwerk.ai. So try it out for yourself, test the other models and tell us what you think. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this test, hit subscribe and let us know which model you prefer. And thanks and goodbye.